Hello, everyone, and welcome to Washington to Westminster, the show that turns UK and US politics into comedy through a 27-step process. The secret is brining the politics before roasting. My name is Andrea Bridges-Smith, and here with me from the Interesting Times, it's Matt Johnston. Matt, any good news to report over there?
Well, Andrea, obviously the good news is the ceasefire that is happening right now in Gaza.
Yes.
And genuinely, here's praying it's worked. Uh, Sorry, you'll forgive me if I'm a little skeptical. We did talk about this shortly before we came on air. But it is just, when it comes down to that particular neck of the woods, there have been too many false dawns, let's be honest.
Right.
And to that as well, it appears 7 Palestinians appear to have been shot by the IDF since the ceasefire as they approached the Israeli army in an area I'm guessing they weren't supposed to be in. I don't know. I don't know much more of the details on that. And Hamas appear to be rearming something like 7,000 of its own soldiers.
Yes, and I heard this morning that Hamas returned a body that wasn't even a hostage. And
Yeah.
indeed, at the moment, just a quick check of the news sites, it looks like the deal is maybe starting to fray at the edges a little bit. But I wouldn't worry too much because, according to Donald Trump, 3,000 years of intractable conflict has been erased with the stroke of a pen, which that sounds plausible, right?
Yeah, and let's be honest, Trump's one of those, he's all about the detail, isn't he? He's all
Yes.
about understanding I've no doubt he's done, well, didn't he have a load of universities? I've no doubt one of these universities would have offered some sort of course on this, so he's probably an expert. Let's be honest, he's probably an expert on the whole Gaza Strip and its
Captain
history.
Nuance, that's his nickname. People call him
Nuance,
that all the time.
absolutely. Okay, well, sorry, everybody, we are sounding a little bit down on this, but there is good news. I mean, the good news is that there has been 20 Israeli and something like hundreds of Palestinian hostages who have been released. Sorry, they keep calling the Palestinian ones prisoners, but they
Mhm.
were prisoners without trial, without any form of,
Right.
but far too many of them were in fact prisoners without trial. But there we go. They have been released as part of the ceasefire and also as the first step to, dare we say it, a long-lasting peace? Come on, be positive.
That's right. We want that peace, and we want it to be long lasting.
Yeah,
Like a really good deodorant. We want it to stick around all day long. No, genuinely, it has been really nice to see the images of destruction and devastation replaced by images of people hugging their families and being reunited, and people celebrating instead of protesting. It's been really nice. It's
yeah,
nice.
yeah. We'll take that. There we go. Thank you, Andrea. That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
And it's all thanks to Donald Trump. There you go. Words I thought I never would say.
You gotta hand it to him. His team got in there. They got this done. We gotta give props where props are due.
Right. I mean, yes, there's a lot of Middle Eastern sort of countries, the Saudis in particular, who
Sure.
pressured Hamas into sort of getting to the table.
Yes.
But the big issue was always going to be to get Israel to the table,
Yes.
and stop their kind of killing. And Trump has been very sort of direct, shall we say, in doing that.
Uh-huh.
And yes, it has as well been about his personal desire to win a Nobel Peace Prize.
Sure.
But let's be honest, we would have happily handed it over if it means an end to the kind of suffering and destruction we've seen over the last 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we had a time machine, we'd go back and give him a baker's dozen of Nobels if that's what it took, and just throw in one for literature and physics too while you're at it.
Yes, yes. I mean, man, camera, woman, dog was a classic. I think we can all agree. So
Yes.
that's the one for literature right there. Uh, so even though this clearly couldn't have been done without Trump, Starmer and the Italian president, Giorgia Meloni, were also there. Not sure why. Historical moment or shameless photo opportunity. You decide.
Actually, I heard that they were serving some excellent profiteroles at this thing, and they just didn't want to
Oh,
miss out on that. So,
well, there we go. Shameless, cynical person that I was is the proof of rolls. I beg your pardon. It did give rise, though, to a rather delightfully cringe moment for the British Prime Minister when he stood at the back and he's had to listen to Trump ramble on about all sorts of nonsense and then gets called up. Well, I mean, have a look.
United Kingdom. Where's United Kingdom? Where's my friend? Where? Come here.
Okay. So Trump says UK. Where is UK? It's like, dude, we laid on a £15 million steak dinner for you last month, and you can't even remember our name.
Now, Matt, that's not fair. He may have been asking a geography question. Where is the UK? Is it in Asia? Is it in Antarctica? How's he supposed to keep track of it all?
Yeah, yeah. Is it in Antarctica? No, that's
Yeah,
a made-up place. So, anyway, Starmer's like, hello, I'm here, sir. You want to see me?
right,
Uh,
right.
yeah, it is rather awful. He comes up, yes, all right, and then, all right, you can go to the back now. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and there's another point where Trump is talking to Mark Carney, the Canadian Prime Minister, and Starmer doesn't know what to do with himself. So he comes over, and it's just cringe all over again, as the young ones would say.
On that? No, I'll go back. I'm glad you upgraded me to president.
Oh, did I say?
Great stuff. That's good. I started.
At least I didn't say that.
Great stuff.
Oh, poor Starmer just bopping around, waiting for the cool kids to let him sit at the lunch table.
Right. So I have a solution to this. Starmer's not great when it comes to this sort of thing. I mean, we have covered this quite a few times. Rishi Sunak was the same, although it would have been a bit funnier. He wouldn't have had that. Starmer is aware of just how awkward he looks. I don't think Sunak would have had that. So, yeah. I mean, Starmer, I've got a solution for this, right? Starmer doesn't travel to these things alone. What you do is you get one of his aides brief so that in moments like that, where Starmer, not a man, as we say, known for making people sit up when he enters the room, but yeah, when he's struggling, have the aide come over and look like you got some important info, have a clipboard or something like that, some details you can point to. Just don't leave him either stood at the back or walking over to be ignored like that. Just horrible.
Well, you got to be careful. They might get him to sign off on another digital ID requirement. You got to watch what's on that clipboard, okay?
Oh, yes. Good point. Anyway, how has this gone down in America, Andrea?
You know, Matt, it's been really bizarre to go from the precipice of civil war to everyone suddenly agreeing and being happy about a thing together. I don't expect it to last longer than about 10 minutes, at which point I assume someone will bring up the Epstein files again. But in the meantime, it's kind of like everybody decided to take a 5-minute break from screaming at each other to eat a slice of cake.
Oh, yes. Enjoy the silence, as Depeche Mode would say, or sing.
Yes. Now, Trump got some congratulations from Joe Biden on the ceasefire deal, which is not something that would ever happen in reverse. But it is, almost charming and quaint to see Biden operating with politeness as if politeness wasn't a dead concept.
Yeah, credit where credit's due all round, I think. And yeah, we'll just leave that one there. Credit where credit's due. And if we are doing that, then credit also has to go to the protesters who put so much pressure on European governments to act. I mean, eventually, of course. But I do know as well that Americans have been putting pressure on your government. But I think it's fair to say that Trump reacts differently to that pressure. Is that fair to say, Andrea?
I think that is fair to say, yes.
Right. So speaking of which, how goes his military takeover of your country?
Oh, it's going swimmingly. This is where we as Americans are having a little bit of emotional whiplash. Because in Trump's speech on the Gaza ceasefire deal, he said, "We seek tolerance, dignity, and equal opportunity for every person, ensuring this region is a place where all can pursue their aspirations in peace, security, and economic prosperity, regardless of race, faith, or ethnicity." Meanwhile, back at home, we're rounding up people for being brown and we're deporting them or holding them in prisons and camps in terrible conditions. There is this device, Matt, that's being used on some detainees called the wrap. And it basically mummifies the lower half of your body and locks your arms in so you can't move. And I can only assume that this is for people who are like, okay, I like the shackles and chains. Those are fun. But is there a way we could turn this into more of a human rights abuse kind of a thing? I'm assuming that person is, of course, Stephen Miller.
Yeah, sounds like him, or it sounds like something written by Stephen King, let's be honest. When it comes to the rap, it sounds medieval. That's what it sounds like.
It is. It's like something that you would put Hannibal Lecter in,
Wow.
without the face mask. It's just looking at it is like, oh wow, that's not a thing that humans should do to other humans. But
Yeah.
here we are. But peace, prosperity, that's what we're all about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's the second worst rap after the McDonald's one, I suppose, isn't it, really? Um,
Exactly, exactly, and this one won't give you diarrhea, so that's nice.
yes. Or anything done by, P. Diddy.
Yes.
So
I also wanna say, as happy as I am about this ceasefire and as much as I hope that it holds, um, I have to say that parts of this make me incredibly sad. First, because I really do agree with that part of Donald Trump's speech, which, by the way, doesn't sound like something that he would ever write himself, was probably written by a speechwriter, but, whoever wrote it, I
you
agree
got
with it, and he said
yes.
it, and I agree with him. Yes, it is a beautiful vision for the future, and it feels impossible for our own country right now because we have a president who can't get his own country to stop fighting with each other, who preaches hatred for people different from him, who doesn't want peace, doesn't want to work together to solve issues, and who wants total domination and subservience. And if he has to take it by force, well, that's a feature, not a bug.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's not slowing down then. I know a lot have been made about his, cognitive, thinking and stuff, but, yeah, that's on another level, isn't it? There's a point where the paranoia just takes over from all reasonable sort of thinking, I guess.
Exactly, exactly. And so it's like, how are we supposed to, he can broker these deals abroad, but he can't seem to do it here. In fact, he's turning up the heat here and kind of contributing to the type of division that led to this, Israel Gaza thing in the first place. And the other thing that gets me about this is, again, ceasefire is great. Happy it was negotiated, but it could have happened a long time ago. And that is a failure of the Trump and Biden administrations, both of whom were like, "Baby, hey, listen, you're taking this too far. You're killing innocent people. You got to knock that off, okay? All right, good talk. Here's some more bombs. Hey, Bibi, these people are starving. You got to let more food in, all right? Okay, cool. Here's some more guns. Hey, Bibi, you're doing a fucking genocide, man. You cannot do that. I mean it this time. Okay, here's some more bombs. The US supplies 69% of Israel's weapons, and if
Wow.
at any point in the
Wow.
past 2 years we had said, "Fuck you, no more weapons till you stop being a monster," then a lot more hostages could be coming home and a lot more Gazan people would be alive today.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely good point. And, the UK is not, innocent in all this either. It's obviously it doesn't supply 69%, but it is,
Right,
from all accounts, been supplying airplane parts and even some bullets as well. So there
right,
we go. We
right.
know where this is going. You can't pretend otherwise. I'm really rather sad, like yourself. Sorry, everybody. We're being a downer on this, I know, but uh, part of the problem is even if this works, which we've already mentioned, is starting to fray around the edges, as you said, Andrea. But even if it works, there's going to be tens of thousands of Gazans dead, and
Right.
nobody's going to be, sorry, Palestinians dead, and nobody's going to be held accountable for that. Not one individual. In fact, they're going to be sort of patted on the back for the stopping of the shooting. And you know what I mean? It just seems a bit warped. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like let's take an example from daily American life. Let's say someone is shooting at a school, and if they stop shooting, do we give them a medal for it? No, we fucking
Ye-
arrest them,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's not going to happen here.
No.
And you're right, that's super fucked up.
Really? Yes. They've already mentioned the fact that Hamas cannot be a part of the negotiations for a future Palestine state, which 100% agree with. But
Yes,
Netanyahu can't either. It was a bad idea to bring Netanyahu back. This is all Netanyahu's about wiping Palestine off the face of the earth. That's all he's made no secret of it. He's never had a wish to recognize a Palestinian state. So he cannot be a part of any future negotiations. But I hope genuinely, yeah, hope they come some way to getting it. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway,
again, it's a we really brought down the mood of this episode. Just I feel like maybe we should show a video of baby ducks right now or something like that.
yeah, right. Have you got anything more positive coming out of the US?
Not that I can think of. Let's see. We'll take a quick spin over by CNN and see if they have anything. Let's see. Supreme Court might undercut the Voting Rights Act. That would be bad. Let's see.
So how about this for a bit of light relief or lighter relief? Boris Johnson, our ex-Prime Minister. You see the difference there, Andrew? He was on a right-wing podcast, The Telegraph, the Daily Telegraph over here, their podcast to promote, I have no idea what he said, promote another book, I can only think, or at least the advances for another book that will never get written. And they were asking him about the fact that we're experiencing high levels of immigration over here, which is a problem for some people, fair enough. But that started very much on Boris Johnson's watch because we had the Brexit deal, and then he
Right.
was unclear how many people that meant, because at the time, obviously, a lot of Europeans were coming in and going and stuff like that, and he was just happy to just bring in a lot of migrants into the country. Again, I'm happy with that. That's fair enough. But now he's turning around saying it's all Starmer's fault. That's why we have high immigration. He then goes on to talk about large areas of the country, in particular in the north and in London, where he talks about large areas not being white, basically. And he said, people here not even born in this country.
I'm
Want to know
sorry,
something,
Matt. I'm
Andrea?
just having a hard time picturing an England that is just not chock full of white people. I feel like you guys have plenty of white people over there. Am I wrong?
No, it's not like basically what is chap Robert Jenrick, who is the now shadow Justice Secretary, I think, said he went to a place called Handsworth in Birmingham, particularly deprived area, and he spoke about the fact he watched for 90 minutes, didn't see a single one white face.
Mm-hmm.
But he says, it's not about the colour of your skin. Well, why bring it up then? Also, Boris Johnson talking about people not being born in this country. He wasn't born in this country.
I didn't know that. Where was he born?
New York.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys again.
Oh, God. Everything's our fault, isn't it? We're sorry. We'll add your apology note to the pile.
To be fair, that's an Eton problem. That's not a New York problem. Definitely not.
Okay.
So there we go. The lighter news was the casual racism displayed by Boris Johnson. How about that? That's where we are right now. Crikey. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
all right.
everyone.
In our effort to continue to steer this one out of the skid, Matt, I actually do have a good story.
Please.
Okay.
Please.
So
Walk
Pete
us down from the
Hegseth,
ledge. Yes.
yes, Pete Hegseth made up this rule that, like, basically, if people want press passes to the Pentagon, they are only allowed to report certain things. And so pretty much every news organization, including Fox News, his former employer was like, no, you can't do that. That's freaking insane. Like, we're allowed to report whatever the hell we want. And he's like, fine, then you don't get to come to the Pentagon. So the NBC News, the libs over there teaming up with Fox News to be on the right side of history together. That's nice, right? We like that.
That is awesome. See, Trump is bringing people together.
Sure.
It's
just a different strategy.
Well, that's insane. That's
Yeah.
Kim Jong-il sort of Kim Jong-un, sorry, sort of level of devotion, isn't it? Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what happens now is basically, apart from a couple of mad right-wing podcasts, nobody's going to be reporting on this.
Oh, no. What happens now is that all of the people at the Pentagon are going to start leaking information behind the scenes to members of the press. Like, they don't have to be there with their little badge on. They can get calls on their cell phone.
Yeah.
And actually knowing that Pete Hegseth and company tend to discuss important matters on signal chats and accidentally loop reporters in. They have that method as well. So, there's options. These people have options.
Well, it sounds like the times are going to get a lot more interesting. Sorry, bit of a plug there, but yeah, sounds like the things are going to get a whole lot more. Yeah, it's entering its Game of Thrones stage, the US, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully, we can skip the beheading part because that was pretty gross.
Wonderful. Right. Okay. Well, that's all the time we've got this week, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, for some more American news with a comedic twist, you can find this on Andrea's channel, and you're already here, so feel free to subscribe down below. There we go. And for the British version and me, that's at theinterestingtimes.co.uk. And we'll see you all soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.